Hello from EverQuest Footpad. Constance and Charlie here in our second Plane of Sky raid. It took me a while to release this content, and you can see me from the perspective of the puller, and so the main thing is just having to pull, feign death, and have the tanks and the rangers and whomever just peel off what you pulled in and then go back out there. And the main thing is don't train the raid. But given our level, I think I could have been a little less conservative and pulled more in just for expedience. Plane of Sky is pretty unique. It's pre-Kunark, so it's a classic zone. The way it works is you have to progress through these chain of floating islands, and each group of mobs on each island will drop keys to the next island, and you've got to go into this in this sequence. So it's pretty neat. A lot of the drops here are quest items that you need to do a turn in, and so basically you just have to go through what your class specific gear would be. In Era, it's really good stuff. Also, a lot of epics are up here, so that's part of our reason for going. The reason I have the Breath of Guan for my monk and was able to complete the monk epic was, going up with Chamber of Chaos and having them do that with me. And Guan is on island 1.5, so I was able to do that pretty early. So you basically see Constance running back and forth, pulling, feigning death. When she feigns death, it drops aggro, and then the tanks and rangers and whatnot can peel off. So it's a pretty interesting opening. This is Island 1.
I think that's the last Thunder Spirit. I don't know where these... I'm not in combat, so... I guess if anyone's in combat, just jump off. No. Maybe the Bard song pulled them in somehow.
So what we just witnessed was chain aggro from a Bard song, causing the Ifritis from another island to come and attack the raid prematurely. This type of thing happens. We're all a super professional guild. We understand these things happen. So the main thing is blame and shame to avoid that type of behavior. And if you happen to make one of these mistakes, and this can happen to everybody, don't beat yourself up about it. It can happen to anybody. Just keep moving forward. And that's the main thing. And that's why I think it's so important to showcase failures as well as successes, so we know we can learn. And that's the whole point of this.
Welcome to the eyeballs. Oh, I think that's the next island. I just fell off. Yeah, sorry.
And speaking of failures, here I am falling off the island. So, yep, happens to everybody.
Here I come. Man, that is a big toothpick. Incoming.
Any of my old guild mates on the Mangler server will recall, probably with a chuckle, that I trained an entire raid, and so I made probably the worst mistake a rogue can make. We were raiding underfoot content, Arthocrex. There was these. It's a great ant hive in the underfoot, and essentially, I was dragging corpses, which is what a rogue does. I didn't realize that these ants could see through Shroud of Stealth, and of course, wasn't paying attention to my extended target window. Trained the entire raid with what should have been just a simple corpse drag, and killed everybody. And it's sometimes you learn these lessons the hard way. Again, you look at failures, you look at successes, you try to learn as much as you can. So yeah, I've seen a lot worse than falling off of an island. So.
Okay. Where are you? There's one. Okay, I can. Sure. Incoming. Okay, the eyeballs.
Okay, so now we're on the Eyeball Island, so Eyeball and Harpies. So what you're going to see is me pulling in, feigning death, having the main tank acquire here, the boss. Once I drop threat, I get back up and head back out, pull more. And so really, the main real issues with this island are that the eyeballs dispel, and you're going to get your haste dispelled, so this is where the Monk Epic is big. You have a clicky haste that gets your haste back, and junk buffs, so things like nimbuses, things that you can put onto your buff bar quickly. I think it's a random slot dispeller, so the more buffs you have, the better. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another issue you'll see here is with the range on your throwing weapons. These throwing spears are 200 range, so if I were using shurikens, I'd have to get a lot closer to these mobs. So yeah, definitely use the longest range you got.
Long pulls. It's how I got my epic, is by coming up to Sky with you guys.
So another thing you'll notice is that I was able to clip that cloud, but he dropped. So he leashed somehow. I don't know how. I'm supposed to be able to pull both of them. So yeah, really, it's just getting all of as many of these harpies pulled in, because the more that I get pulled in, the more people
Nice. Congrats.
get their keys. The more people get their keys, the more access we have to higher and higher islands, and the more access to those islands, the more of our guild mates we can get. We can help get their epics. So yeah. Um, let's see. The main issue is this with this island is that like Centaur, where the center area where those clouds and eyeballs are, they tend to chain aggro, so all of them will come all together. So getting that properly split. This is where having two pullers helps, so you can have like all of the mobs concentrated towards one monk, and then when they feign, and as they're all leashing, have the other monk pull in whatever's leashing back to kind of split it up a little bit. It's fun. It's definitely nice. I just feel for the people that are waiting back with the main raid, because they're just kind of twiddling their thumbs while you trying to work your magic here. The main thing is that you keep the mobs incoming. Probably what I could have done was just pulled everything and just train the raid, just like I did back in Arthurcrex. And in this case, we would have survived because we're all level 60, and we all have a lot of AAs, and we all have, intricate Defiant gear, probably better. But again, it's better to go about this the proper way, at least the first couple times. We can train the raid later.
It's gonna split. No!
So I have missing footage of the Pegasus Island and most of the Bird Island, although we did get the final bird boss. Here we're on the Bee Island. Bee Island's interesting. These are what are called split fights. So if you kill a bee and they're a social aggro, they can either split into 1, 2, or 3. If you get a 3 split, then I think a 3 split won't result in any more splitting. If you get a 2 split, then each of those 2 that split off will then split into 2 more bees. If you only have a 1 split, then you'll get a chain that will ultimately result in the final boss spawning. And so there's lots of ways you can do this. You can kite all of the split bees around with Bard Song. What we were doing was just having an enchanter mez the splits, and we just kill one at a time. If we did get the final bee targeted, and he's actually smaller than all of the splits, we had that just off-tank to the side. So, again, one cool thing with these strategies are that there's lots of ways to do it, and we're just using an enchanter to do this. And so here you can see that I moved off the main bee. And the main thing is, if you look at the extended target window, they're differentiated by the number of Z's in the bee's name. So you have to count the number of Z's, know which one you're on. But it's pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. Not too hard.
Buzzed. Man, this is so fun. All these bees.
So here's the final boss, a Bixie. So it's like a humanoid bee. It's like a humanoid that's in a bee costume. So yeah. So then she'll break off, and then we'll get the main boss. So we did lose. Let's see where. There she is. She's much bigger. So I believe she's the final one. We did lose our bard here, which I res. So well, pretty soon we're going to see death touch mobs, and typically it's rangers that eat the death touch. Although we kind of have like whoever eats the death touch, it's kind of like a badge of honor. So people in the raid were volunteering to eat the death touch, and then they're like, "No, I want to do it. No, I want to do it." So that's kind of it's great when you have that kind of stuff. So we'll see death touching mobs here on the next island, which is Sisters Island, also known as Drake Island. So yeah, here's the queen bee dropping her haste belts. Okay, so welcome to Island 7, also known as Drake or Sisters Island. The main boss here is called Sister of the Spire. And so basically, you have drakes that are, trash mobs that all drop key pieces to the next island, and they're basically flying in a clockwise circle around this central citadel with 4 minarets surrounding it. It's kind of like a Middle Eastern or Indian, inspired art. And the drakes, they fly in sort of a sinusoidal pattern. So they go up and down in this sine wave, and they go in a circle around this spire. And so my job is to pull in the drakes, and again, range. You need a long enough range weapon. I'm using these throwing spears. I think it really, really helps having bard speed for this one. And what'll happen is I'll throw a spear and miss, and throw a spear and then outrun the mob. So the main issue is just to pull enough in. Typically 1 or 2 will come in. Here I get 3. Spin stun is a problem when you're spin stunned. The only thing you can really do is sit down and wait for the whirl till you hurl effect to wear off, and then you drag it to the raid. And then feign death. So here I drag 3. I think the worst I do is 3. So yeah, pull all the drakes in first, and then we'll hit the sphinxes. These are death touch mobs, so you're gonna encounter spin stuns and death touches. So progressively, the mobs get harder and harder. So this is a really interesting raid. Just very classic EverQuest feel to it. And, I just love that we can do this on a live server with people that, are just nostalgia heads like I am. So it's really cool that you can still do this, that you don't have to do live content. You can do classic content if you like, which is a lot of fun. And it's cool being able to demonstrate, these pull strategies for a YouTube viewing audience. So here we are at the final Death Touch mob scene. Basically, what you do is once all the trash is cleared that flies around the citadel, you basically engage all the sphinxes around. Each of the sphinxes is a Death Touch mob. So we have our ranger eat the first Death Touch here, and we just go around. Basically, the first player character eat the Death Touch, and then everyone else engage. So basically, he Death Touches the first player to engage, and then you basically take him out before with sufficient DPS before he can put out another Death Touch. And so basically, what you do is you resurrect that ranger, and then he gets Death Touch for the next Sphinx, and so on and so forth. But in this case, everybody wanted to get Death Touch, so that was the fun part of this. Camaraderie, man, you gotta have it. So, so we just go round robin and just kill all these Sphinxes. We did miss our chance to get keyed up into the final island, the Eye of Ashan fight. So hopefully we'll get to see that this week. I'm probably going to be a little late to that raid because I do have to work. But hopefully we'll be able to catch some video of Eye of Ashan and maybe catch some content of the Pegasus Island, which is another cool splitting fight, and maybe more of the parrots, so the bird island. So hopefully we'll be able to fill in the gaps with that final video. Anyways, I'm going to let the rest of this play out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good day. Bye.